Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, each spring, President's Choice brings together a small group of elite media people to take and grow some of their plant material, particularly all the new plant material that you'll see in their garden centers. So, what you do is you get to pick and choose what you like and what you grow. So what I've done is I've taken a selection of these plants and grown them all summer. And this past week, the President's Choice people got us together at Stoke Seeds here in St. Catharines. And it was put on by Martin Farms and Bob Martin, as well as Wayne Gale of Stoke Seeds. Now, with President's Choice, PC, there's a lot of great plant material. I mean, they go all over the world. They go to the different trials. They go to the California trials, and the spring trials, and the pack trials, but mainly in the spring trials, because they want to see the results as opposed to what looks good in a box or in a flat. I mean, it's great to look great in a box or a flat, but if it doesn't perform in a container or in the garden, then what good is it? So they travel and they bring in the best of the best from the breeders from around the world. In this case, there was a number of them that I'd like to go over and just sort of make you well aware. We have had good success this year. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, wait a minute. How could you have good success? It's been a long, cool, cloudy, moist, almost wet summer. Well, if you manage your soils, your plants, well, you can have success even with weather like that. Now, I will start with a few things that I think you should actually think about. Now, they don't have just annuals and vegetables, etc. They do have plant material. And I got a couple of the Elijah Blue Fescue. It's not been basically new. It's been around a while, but it's reliable, it's dependable, and it's a good blue, and it maintains that good blue. Well, they've done a superior job on a clay soil in a wet season with low light. Now, that alone should tell you that a Festuca, which likes rich, well-drained, moist soil but not wet, hates heavy clay soil, loves the sun, and yet here it is doing well in our weather. So, Elijah Blue Fescue, which is a great little ornamental grass, is one that you should take a look at and consider for your garden. Miscanthus Gold Bar, which is a dwarf gold-banded miscanthus. Now, it's small, it's tight, it doesn't get aggressively wide like its big brother Miscanthus zabrinus or any of the others that are similar to it. So as a result, this one is a little better behaved in your garden, a little smaller. Eventually it's about 3 feet to 4 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. The one that I planted this year in my garden to test did quite well in clay soil in the poor weather. And remember, I don't do a lot of extraordinary improvement of soil. I just want to improve the soil in order to get it to establish itself in the existing clay soil. The result is that it has to be able to survive with minimal care. And all of these plants have had to do that. You don't do the extraordinary when you're doing good testing. So that one went really well. The other one I really liked was North Wind. Now, North Wind is a panic grass, okay, which means it's a medium green. It's a blue-green. It's very vertical. It gets those nice fluffy heads up on top of it. Very airy, very light. It's not bold. It's not blocking. And it gets a good, well, in this season already, it's gone from about 2 feet tall to about 4 feet tall with the flower stalk. Now, it hasn't spread radically, but it's doing very well and established itself. That I like. That's what I'm looking for in a first plant. I want to see it established before it goes wild. Okay, and so I'm waiting for its fall color, and it's supposed to get some nice fall colors into it. So we'll wait and see. But I think the North Wind panic grass is going to be a winner in the garden. Not showy, not spectacular, just really, really nice. The other thing that I had was the Leucanthemum Real Dream. Now, Leucanthemum is the new botanical name for Shasta daisies, okay? For those of you who know Shasta daisies, to call this one a Shasta daisy is actually a little bit of an insult. It is on the yellow. It does fade to white. It does have a big yellow button in the center. But you know what? It blooms. And it blooms. And it blooms. But you do have to deadhead, just like you do Shasta daisies and other members of the Leucanthemum group. Now, did it do well? Sure did. Other than a little bit of watering, average planting, nothing extraordinary. It's doubled in size and doing very, very well. So there you go. What can you say? A new plant doing very, very well. The other one I was thrilled with was Snow Day Surprise Pearl Bush. Now, the Snow Day Surprise, about the pearl bush, is going to be a very early bloomer. It's white. So pick your spot that you planted so it can be viewed from a window and viewed at a window that you're going to be able to look out easily. I made sure that my location is such that I can view it from the kitchen window, the bedroom window, or the dining room window. And as a result, when it's a little too cold out there and I don't know if I really want to go gardening here, and I know it's white, but it's a pure white, and it's going to bloom early in the season. So I think that that's going to be a nice little addition to my garden as well. Other ones that I was really impressed with was the colocasia. Now the black, which is the dark black, purple black, big elephant ears in the pots. This plant loves moisture. Okay, so rich, organic, moist soil, and always moist. Loves the sun, but will take semi-shade. In a container, these things have tripled in size. Some of the leaves are as much as 18 inches long or bigger and doing really well. So here is a good centerpiece, bold, coarse textured, colorful. In the fact that it is so dark, it makes an excellent contrast plant. There's one that I call Big Blue, and it's a bluey green, and its leaves, good 18 inches, and it's still going. And if I think I needed a little more food and a little more time, I think I could get those leaves up to about 2 feet long. So something you may want to consider to give that tropical look into your garden or into containers as a specimen, as a centerpiece. Okay? Large container, this in the center, and lovely plants around the outside. Speaking of more of a tropical look, the South Pacific cannas are a seed canna. They have grown spectacularly. They've gone from, I would say, a 1-gallon pot up until a plant anywhere from 2 to 4 feet tall, depending on some varieties and the way I grew them. Orange with a little bit of yellow stamens. It's an orangey red, so I won't say red, but I won't say orange. It's in between. Is it nice? Yes. Does it bloom a lot? Yes. Does it do spectacular in containers? Yes. In fact, it's still blooming even now. Cannas have a tendency to bloom late, but these are seeded. Are you going to be able to winter the corms, or I should say the rhizomes? No. I doubt it. The growers don't think so, but that just means that's a bit of a challenge, and some of us out there will take up the challenge and see. There is one that most people did not pick up, simply because sweet potato. Okay, everybody's growing sweet potato, right? Well, here is Floramia Nero. Now, it's got purpley black leaves. It's a dwarf. It stays small. Doesn't get that long, leggy, ugly, okay? But it also gets pink, and a good strong pink, Calibrachoa type of flower. So even my wife likes this one. So there's one that even she comes with as well. Now the PC had Calibrachoas in the kettle, and it gave continual bloom in this plastic kettle sitting on the table, full sun, south facing, occasional watering, little bit of food but not much. And there was white, there was purple, there was red. I can't remember if there was another color in there, but there was at least the 3 colors in there, and looking spectacular. The other Calibrachoa, I believe it was like hot cocoa or something. It grows very, very well. I put it into adverse conditions. In other words, not enough sun. This is a Loa hot orange, and boy, did it do well. Bloomed, bloomed, bloomed. Eventually, I did have to cut it back. It did a little bit of a stall, but that's because I was growing it in mostly all shade and indirect light, exactly where you're not supposed to. And if you were smart enough and you knew that and you put it in the right place, this thing would really take off. The other nice orange thing that I had to give that sort of tropical look was an Ixora Maui braid. And if you picked up one of these, you're one of the smart people. Never stop blooming. Always orange flower heads and flowers. Gorgeous. You're right through the whole growing season. And it was out with the Calibrachoas in this continual reflected light shade and doing really well. If it had been out in the sun, where I moved it just recently, it does even better. So there you go. These are just some of the great plants that PC had for you this spring. Maybe next time I'll tell you about why you weren't successful with your tomato plants, and you probably still got green ones now, green tomatoes, because you didn't buy the PC grafted tomatoes. And guess what? We're so tomatoed out. Are you? From our garden. And it's only 9 plants. Fabulous, fabulous. The grafted tomatoes are earlier, they're faster, they're maturing, they're tougher, they're bigger. There's lots of fruit, very abundant, and they taste good. And you know what? They'll go later into the fall than your regular ones. If you give them even just a little bit of protection on a bad day, you could be ripening your tomatoes well into early October. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.